Are you ready for it? Yes, I dyed my hair. I don't really know if you can see it all that well, but if you like clean out some of the lighter bits. Go back to college in 2 days and I'm ready for it. So on the subject of going back to school, I thought I would make this video all about how to be a practicing Wiccan or witch in college. College is such an amazing time. You really find yourself there. You really discover really good friends and like subjects that interest you beyond anything that you've ever experienced in high school. But saying that, it does obviously come with its struggles. If you commute to your college or if you take online classes, this may not be as big of a deal for you. Yeah, so this is more for people like me who actually dorm out of college because it's too far away from home. So this is ways to live Wicca in college. If you're living on campus and you have your own room, it might be a good idea to make the space feel as comfortable for you as possible. Obviously this goes for everyone, but for Wiccans, it may include keeping things like plants, crystals, certain types of herbs out. You may even choose to use a section of your desk for your altar supplies and to set up a semi-permanent altar there. Next thing is kind of a big one, and it involves fire substitutes. So typically if you are dorming on campus, majority of the time the residence halls will not allow you to burn candles, burn incense. My college won't even allow us to hang up string lights, which really sucks. But as essential as that may seem to our craft and our practice, there are actually a lot of substitutes that you can use that still abide by the rules. The first idea I would suggest to you guys is to get an oil diffuser with an automatic shutoff. Another substitute, if you actually want some sort of light, is to use a fake candle or an LED candle. They make fake candles nowadays though that are extremely realistic. Some like flicker, some like, kind of wave with the flame, so it's really good if you are forced to put away the actual flames. My next tip, and this is also kind of a big one, is if you have a roommate that is uncomfortable with your practice. Now normally, unless you get really, really lucky, you are going to be paired with someone else in your room. Sometimes it might even be 2 or 3 people. It really just depends on your college and what their system is. I have been really lucky thus far, and all of my roommates have been absolutely amazing. They really either just don't care or they are very supportive of it, but you may get a roommate that is not so okay with it, and that's totally fine. The whole thing about college and living with someone else for the first time is all about compromise. What I would recommend doing is if you are the first one there, or if your roommate is already there and you're starting to set up your room, maybe hold off on setting up your altar or your semi-permanent altar and maybe just lay out a few crystals and some plants and things, and just don't kind of overwhelm your side of the room. I'd say once you and your roommate have gotten to know each other a little bit better and you are more comfortable with each other's habits and routines and each other as people, and at that point I would suggest that you can start to set up your altar and you can bring out more of your books and things like that. Most of the time I feel like your roommate is going to be okay with it. They're not really going to put up much of a fuss, especially if it's on your side of the room. You are sharing the space equally. If though your roommate is extremely uncomfortable with it and doesn't want to see anything Wicca related in the room whatsoever, you have a few options. If you want to be accommodating and you really just want things to work out, you can always take your semi-permanent altar and set it up outside. It doesn't have to be like on your desk or in the room. You can keep it in a box when you are not practicing. However, since this is also your space, and if you want to be able to display your religion and everything the way that you should be able to on your side of the room, I would definitely talk to either a resident advisor or a resident hall director and see about getting things sorted out between you and your roommate if a initial compromise doesn't work out. The next thing that I would suggest is to find or start a Wiccan or pagan community on your campus. I have a very, very large college campus personally, but I have not really heard of any other Wiccans on campus. I don't think there are any other pagan community groups or anything like that. So if you get to school and you are someone who is comfortable practicing with a bunch of different people, or you would like to talk to someone else who has the same interest in Wicca or witchcraft, I would definitely suggest seeking that out first, and if it's not yet a thing, I would definitely suggest going to your student government or whoever runs the clubs and activities on campus and getting one started yourself. College is also the perfect time to really practice up on your studying and your concentration spells. I know it can sound a little lackluster and boring, but trust me, when your first round of midterms come around, you are going to thank me. The next thing I would suggest is to still find time to worship the Sabbaths or to worship any holidays. Why? Did you both blow up? What the fuck? Okay, now you're on and you're off. Okay, what? I know that college can be also a very, very busy time, but I still think it would be a good idea to plan ahead some activities for each Sabbath. Whether it's something as simple as just writing out a page in your book of shadows, or if you want to put the effort together and do a very large or small spell, I think it's still good to recognize that the holiday is passing as a reminder that the wheel of the year is still continuing to change. If you do not feel like your college has a space that is appropriate enough for you to practice your meditations and rituals and things outdoors, I would highly suggest going to someone of authority, whether it be your resident hall advisor or maybe someone who runs the activity rooms at your college. And I would inquire about setting up a space either for the Sabbaths or maybe like once a month. You may be able to rent it out or book it out, especially if you have a large group, where you will be able to practice your craft. Sometimes they would even allow you to burn candles in there as long as you are safe. So most colleges are usually made for convenience. Sad to say, it's a lot easier for college students to just grab something really fast and rush off to class than it is to sit down and have a healthier meal. Especially if you're a freshman, I know a lot of the times they might require you to have a meal plan that is only specific to the dining halls, and they may not have the healthiest options. But plan to try to keep a healthy schedule, because the healthier the food is that you're putting into your body, the more energy you'll have and the more focused you'll stay on class. My next tip is to still get in at least a half hour's meditation or at least a half-hour walk every day or every other day. Like I said, college is a very, very busy time. I know I'm going into my junior year. I know how stressful it can be. But it's still good to make sure that you are taking care of your mental and your physical health and that you're keeping yourself centered. Final tip is to not be afraid being open with your craft in college. High school can be very judgmental and a little difficult to escape from, especially if you come from a small town like I do. There are so many types of people at college. Some may be okay with it, some won't be, but it's really kind of a glimpse of the real world on a smaller scale and how many people are really going to accept it and really just kind of going to ignore it. But as I always like to emphasize, that is their life and this is your life, and if that is the way that you choose to live, then you should not be afraid to hide that, especially in college. So yeah, that was all the tips I have to share with you guys today. If you guys want to see anything specific from me next, please let me know down in the comments as well. And hopefully I will be able to shoot a couple of videos in the future at my college dorm room. But until then, I'll see you guys later. Love you.